Welcome back to Alpha Recap, your quick after-hours wrap of the day's market moves. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Big day. Markets closed up overall, but there were a couple of headlines that really grabbed attention. Battery tech from CATL and an analyst update on the big parcel carrier.
Right. CATL led the chatter. They rolled out 6 new battery products at their Super Technology Day in Beijing. 6. That's a lot of cell-level news at once.
Yeah, that tracks. They spotlighted third-generation Shenxing and Qilin cells, a condensed Qilin, and a second-generation superhybrid. The gist? Faster charging and more energy density. Basically trying to make EVs more convenient and give automakers more options.
So what really stands out here is how product-led competition keeps pushing the supply chain. Faster charging isn't just a marketing line. It changes the chemistry mix, the materials miner sell, the cell assemblers' processes.
Exactly. Put simply, energy density is how much juice you can store in the battery for a given size or weight. Charging speed is how quickly you can refill it. If you improve both, car makers can either make cars lighter, go farther between charges, or shave size and cost. Those choices ripple through suppliers.
But a big caveat. Today's announcements were product-focused. No pricing, no production volumes, no named OEM partners. So markets will be watching for commercialization timelines and whether OEMs actually switch sourcing.
So the headline is exciting, but until there are concrete supply agreements or factory ramps, it's more potential than realized demand.
Short reaction? Big on promise, light on details.
Spot on.
Moving on, we had an analyst move on the parcel carrier. Bernstein raised its price target, citing fuel surcharge dynamics.
Right. And that's a mechanics story. Fuel surcharges are essentially a pass-through. When fuel costs rise, carriers levy an extra charge on shipments that increases revenue per package. If surcharges are collected consistently, they can help margins without the carrier having to increase core prices.
I mean, when you step back and look at this, analysts adjusting targets on that basis suggest the market is focused on near-term margin relief, rather than a structural demand pickup.
Yeah. Important to note, the analyst note didn't disclose the new target or the detailed assumptions, so traders will probably wait for the full write-up or company comments before making bigger moves.
Short reaction. Worth watching, not conclusive.
Exactly. Now, shifting themes. Retail attention spiked for space topics. Google Trends showed searches for NASA Artemis II heat shield jumped to about 20,000 searches, up about 500%, and searches for SpaceX launch were around 10,000, up about 600%.
Those are huge percentage jumps, but from low baselines, which usually means retail interest drove the move, and that often precedes a burst of options activity and volatility in space-adjacent stocks and ETFs.
Retail heat can create short, sharp spikes. The tricky part, neither search trend came with formal program updates or pricing. So early market moves on those themes tend to be sentiment-driven until official agencies or companies post details.
Quick interjection. That's the same behavioral lever that pops up around biotech conference rumors or flashy EV headlines. When headlines light up, liquidity follows.
True. Headlines are the market's siren song.
Let's touch healthcare and medtech next. A few short items, but with structural implications.
Hint Health released a direct primary care trends report covering about 1.4 million members, suggesting DPC is moving from niche toward infrastructure. That can change how employers and insurers design benefits and potentially shift utilization patterns.
And then there was Polarix, attending the National TASAX conference next week. Companies often use those windows for program updates or Q&A. Event participation can be a catalyst for clinical stage names.
Plus, a pediatric case of an implanted EV ICD was reported. That's a specific example of expanding use cases for advanced implantable cardiac devices. That's something medtech watchers will map to larger names in the space.
Honestly, I was a bit surprised by that pediatric case. Those clinical anecdotes can sometimes shift timelines, or at least investor attention.
Right. They don't alter approvals overnight, but they do change the narrative and addressable market conversation.
Quick reactions. Events equal volatility. Conferences equal watch windows.
Love those short summaries.
Infrastructure and real estate next. A couple of cross-cutting briefs. Integrated Water Services and CROM announced a permanent concrete modular wastewater system called Next MBR. If that scales, it could change municipal procurement cycles and create recurring revenue models for providers.
And NJIT moved into the Nest Center, which used to be Merck's Research HQ. That's a neat reuse of high-spec lab space. It could drive future spin-outs, licensing, and higher lab space utilization. It's a small but meaningful signal for life science real estate.
Pattern-wise, modular solutions and reusing existing facilities fit a broader capital efficiency story. People want to do more with less CapEx when they can.
Exactly. Modularization reduces upfront cost and shortens procurement cycles.
All right, rapid-fire updates. I'll read these quickly and we'll react in one line each. DBT Labs won a Google Cloud Partner of the Year award. They posted a corrected release on April 21st. Watch for any follow-on commercial disclosures tied to Google Cloud.
That's a credibility booster for DBT. Follow customer announcements.
Polarix event participation April 30th to May 3rd. Expect potential program highlights during the conference window.
Event windows are short opportunity windows. Volatility likely.
Integrated Water Services NXT MBR announcement. No financials disclosed. Track pilot contracts or awards.
Proof of commercial pilots will be the real inflection point.
NJIT moving into Nest. Watch occupancy and any commercialization announcements tied to life science real estate.
Those moves can take months to show up in leasing numbers, but they matter over time.
Pediatric EVICD case reported. MedTech watch list includes the big device makers. Follow regulatory and clinical updates.
Short reaction. Clinical anecdotes can change investor focus quickly.
Now let's pull back and highlight the emerging patterns we saw across these briefs.
First, retail and media attention acts as a volatility accelerant. Those Google Trends spikes are classic retail indicators that often come before short bursts of trading in related equities and ETFs.
Second, product-led competition in electrification is back in focus. CATL's multi-product announcements reinforce that battery makers are racing on charging speed and energy density, which filters through to materials demand.
Third, delivery economics matter again. Analyst moves tied to fuel surcharges show the market's eye is on cost pass-through mechanics and near-term margin impacts for logistics firms.
Fourth, modular infrastructure and lab reuse highlight capital efficiency, both in municipal systems and life science real estate.
And fifth, conferences and events are predictable catalyst windows. Day of disclosures or slides can move smaller names more dramatically than they do big caps.
Okay, practical watch list for the next 24 to 72 hours. First, check official NASA and SpaceX feeds for any program or launch details. The search spikes make an update more likely and could move aerospace suppliers.
Second, look for any follow-up from CATL on commercialization timelines or stated OEM partnerships. Bloomberg or Reuters pieces tend to bring the measurable detail markets need.
Third, read the full Bernstein note on the parcel carrier to see the new target and assumptions. Company comments on fuel surcharges will matter at the next earnings call.
Fourth, monitor Polarix's conference slides and schedule for potential program updates during the NTAD window.
And fifth, track pilots or contract awards for the modular wastewater system and any leasing or commercialization notes from Nest that validate lab space demand.
Final risk note, analysts and data suggest that search volume spikes and product announcements often drive sentiment and volatility before fundamentals change. This is informational, not investment advice.
Key takeaways to close. CATL's 6 new battery products mark a clear acceleration in cell innovation that could reshape OEM sourcing and materials demand.
Google Trends spikes for NASA and SpaceX suggested elevated retail engagement. Expect higher short-term volatility in space-adjacent public equities and thematic ETFs.
Bernstein's price target raise on the parcel carrier highlighted fuel surcharge mechanics as a margin driver. We'll need the full note for the details.
Healthcare notes ranged from structural shifts in primary care to event-driven catalysts in biotech and medtech. Multiple short-term watch windows there.
And modular infrastructure plus lab real estate reuse point to capital efficiency trends that are quietly shaping several industries.
All right, that wraps our recap. If you have questions about anything we covered today, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai.
Thanks for listening. Catch you tomorrow after the close for the next Alpha Recap.